We are living in 1984. There is no privacy anywhere, and we haven't even gotten to the point that other countries are at in surveilling their own citizens. But listen to this. FBI agent admits openly, all right, that he or she questions Americans every single day about posts that they put on social media. So now you just exercising your First Amendment right, not threatening anyone and not really doing anything that's illegal or unlawful, because there are some things that you can do that relate to your First Amendment that can be unlawful. And the first one is the one that everyone goes to. They say, well, you can't scream fire in a crowded theater. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can. But it is unlawful to do so, because if you falsely scream fire in a crowded theater and people get hurt because of what you did, then you are liable for screaming fire when there was no fire. Another form of First Amendment abuse that is unlawful is when you say something about someone that is not true and it monetarily hurts that person. You can be sued for libel. So yes, we have a First Amendment, and as long as we use our First Amendment in a lawful manner, there should be no one coming to our door asking us why we posted anything, especially because of our political views. It turns out that Foxtrot Bravo India is watching Americans' social media posts pretty carefully. And if they don't like what you say, they could very well show up at your door and ask you to explain yourself. But why? Again, if they're coming because they're asking for you to explain yourself because you posted something that was threatening someone, because that's not lawful for you to say, hey, I'm going to do this to you and this bodily harm to you and stuff like that. I believe that's not lawful. It may depend on what state you live in. A recent incident in Oklahoma highlighted just how much time and energy the American government is devoting to policing people's speech online. Lawyer Hassan Shibli posted a video online showing these agents going to the home of his client, claiming that they had screenshots of posts she made on Facebook that were political in nature and they wanted to discuss them with her. Why? That's the question you should be asking. Why? Are we free to speak how we want to speak in this nation, or are we not? Well, she said that she wasn't going to talk to them, and when she asked them to show their identification badges on camera, they refused. However, she later confirmed with her local police that they were part of the Foxtrot Bravo India. Although this in-person visit was disturbing enough on its own, it gets worse. She asked one of the agents, so we no longer live in a free country and can't say what we want? He replied, no, we totally do. That's why we're not here to arrest you or anything. We do this all day, every day. He said, it's just an effort to keep everybody safe and make sure nobody has any ill will. Ladies and gentlemen, the First Amendment is not so that you can say how much you love your neighbor or how much you love this political person or not. It's for you to be able to explain your disdain and disgust about anything or anyone that you want without persecution. The First Amendment is not about speech that everyone likes. The First Amendment is about contested speech. And that's what a country needs in order to progress. For us to be able to talk, all right, our minds without the feeling that we will be persecuted for our thoughts. Anyways, she said, really? They do this every day, all day long. Most of us are aware that the Biden administration works closely with social media platforms to censor Americans. And that has been proven. It's not my opinion. To censor American speech and make sure that their preferred narratives get maximum airtime while detractors are silenced. But it is still surprising to see just how far they are going in their pursuit to control our speech. This is why the Constitution of the United States must be taught in local schools, in public schools, like your high schools, your middle schools, because it's not being taught in universities. And it's obviously not being taught to these people that are going out there and acting on behalf of the government. They are not being taught about the First and Fourth Amendment when they go knocking on these doors, ladies and gentlemen. And this person from the Oklahoma office admitted that every day they engage with members of the public in the furtherance of our mission, which is to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, they're doing the opposite. Because when you as a citizen are faced with someone from an administration questioning you, someone that has the authority of law behind them, questioning you, why did you post this? You will then, without knowing it, self-censor yourself. You will start self-censoring what you speak. You will start self-censoring what you type. Just like I myself am self-censoring myself from having to say that 3 letters that is going to get hit by the algorithm. Well, AP, why are you self-censoring yourself? Well, because I want people to watch this video. And if the algorithm, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't like what I say on a video, then they will not recommend it to anyone or barely anyone. That's why. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate that you support what I do by giving the videos a like, by sharing them, by letting them play all the way through, because that tells the algorithm, hey, go ahead and share this with other people because people seem to enjoy the content. And that just helps all the way around. So thank you in advance for your support. Facebook owner Meta, meanwhile, has a policy of handing over data to American law enforcement when issued with a search warrant, subpoena, or court order, or in an emergency case where there is imminent harm to a child or risk of someone losing their life or serious physical injury. I don't think that I have too much of a problem with that. I mean, that's to help people, but that's not to burden people with their voice. They comply with law enforcement requests 87.84% of the time during the first half of this year. As long as they did it for the right reasons, and there are some right reasons, like children are involved, their safety, absolutely, I'm all for it. But for them letting them go in just so that these 3-letter agencies can go ahead and get what they want out of it for their own political purposes, that is very wrong, in my opinion. And for the second part of this video, ladies and gentlemen, a very quick read on why the death of the U.S. empire is inevitable, and which is why you must be prepared, because your standard of living here, I believe within my lifetime at least, will be reduced to about 25, and if you're lucky, to 50% of what it currently is. Meaning that you're going to be about 50 to 75% worse off than you are now in the future. But the better prepared that you are, the softer that the landing will be for you personally. The total and complete collapse of the United States empire is inevitable. Why is that? Because the fiat currency will collapse, and fiat currency is what keeps a dishonest government afloat. That was my take. It will fall under the weight of its own military-industrial complex and the overly totalitarian control regime. The U.S. ruling class is showing no desire to try to fix it. The financial destruction that is well underway. And here they say that the U.S. has total military superiority over almost all other countries, but that having control over large countries that have big military powers is quickly waning. However, the U.S. is still in control of the world's oceans via critical sea lanes with garrisons on every continent, a network of alliances that covers much of the industrial world, the ability to render individuals to secret prisons countries from Cuba to Thailand, preponderant influence over the global financial system, about 30% of the world's wealth, and a continental economy not dependent on international trade. And that last part is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen, in a way that we have all of the resources within our own nation to be self-dependent. But the problem right now that we're having is that we're not using those resources. And instead of making things for ourselves, we just go ahead and contract it out, especially to other countries that maybe don't like us very much and can cut us off really anytime that they like. But the cracks are showing, they say, and the support for this war over in Eastern Europe has done untold damage to the military-industrial complex and its ability to respond if aggressions ever occur here to us, meaning we've pretty much depleted our sources for our own protection. Most people in the slave class can see that the rulers are destroying the society they still have the nerve to call free through the economic prison erected around everyone. And that's what we have here, ladies and gentlemen. As long as we live under the rule of a fiat currency and a taxation system that is totally out of control, we live in an economic prison. So if such a phenomenon is overwhelmingly viewed negatively but isn't being amended, then perhaps it's not merely a failure of policymaking, but rather something deeper, something more endemic to the very fabric of the capitalist economy. It is, of course, possible to lay the blame for this state of affairs at the feet of the current crop of cynical and power-hungry elites, and to stop one's analysis there. But an examination of history reveals recurrent instances of financialization that bear remarkable similarities, which invites the conclusion that perhaps the predicament in the American economy in recent decades is not unique, and that ever-rising power of Wall Street was in a sense preordained. Man, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. They're using a lot of fancy words here, and I'm just a layman. Pretty much what they're saying there is that we can't just blame this current administration, and I don't. What I blame is the system. Right, the system that has been going on probably now for over 100 years and has not stopped pretty much putting us in what they call an economic prison by their policies, their financial, their monetary, their taxation policies, and of course their geopolitical policies as well. And here they finish it off by saying, in recent years, the idea that the United States is an empire in decline has gained considerable support. Some of it from quarters that until very recently would have denied it was ever an empire at all. The New York Times, for instance, has run columns that describe a remarkably benign American empire that is in retreat or even at risk of decline and fall. And ladies and gentlemen, telling the truth of what's going on to our great nation is not an unpatriotic act. I believe that it's a patriotic act because we still have time to fix it. Do I think that our great nation here, the United States of America, will have a big fall? Yes, it will. For many reasons, but mainly really because it's just a cycle. The age of a nation is averaged around 250 years or so from birth to fall, and we're hitting that 250-year mark here pretty soon. Not saying that it's going to happen on the 250th year, but I've often said that in my lifetime, I believe that these United States of America will have a different name or a different form of governance. And we will have to see what happens. Having said that, thank you very much. If you're still here through the end, you are awesome. Thank you so much for your support. I hope that you have a great rest of your Sunday and a great week ahead. Remember that tomorrow we're going to be doing the apocalypse over at Grayman Prepping's channel at 3 p.m. Alaska time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So hope to see you all there. I'll try to leave it linked on our community page here so that you can easily follow it to Grayman Prepping's channel. But if I don't, just go over to Grayman Prepping at 3 p.m. tomorrow Alaska time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we will see you there. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.